Hello, everybody. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. You're listening to Clutch with Keon Rose. That's me. Thank you for joining me today, giving me just a little bit of your time. We've got a lot to talk about, a loaded show. We've got basketball to talk about. NBA trade deadline is nearly upon us. So we'll be talking about the Atlanta Hawks and just the ramifications of the trades around the league. Also, AM 1240 is the exclusive home of NASCAR in Chattanooga. So, of course, we'll be talking some NASCAR later on in the show. Good friend of mine, our NASCAR insider, Sam Blevins, will be joining us to break down the doings and happenings of Daytona 500 Media Week so far. We've got some great quotes, some Joey Logano, Kurt Busch, Dale Jr. So we're gonna get into that later. But before we jump into anything, platforms. Always got to get on top of those. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. That's where you can find us. Search Hot News Talk Radio. We're the first thing that comes up. And if you want to listen to us, there are a few ways that you can do this. YouTube, we stream all of our shows. And, of course, you can go back and listen to classic episodes. You never call them old. And you can find us at hotnewstalkradio.com, streaming live 24/7. Just open up a tab. We don't mind. Leave us alone in a corner. It's all good. It's all good. And, of course, the TuneIn Radio app. It's absolutely free, and you can download it from the Apple Store or the Google Play Store directly to your mobile device. Hot News Talk Radio. Give us a follow, press play, and you'll have Hot News Talk Radio everywhere you go. So now that we've dealt with the pleasantries, let's just jump into the show. We've got basketball talk here, and to join me and help me figure out the doings and happenings of the NBA for the first time in studio. We've had him over the phone. But for the first time in studio, my brother and known basketball nut / expert, Colin Rose.
Okay, I just want to throw out there, why'd you lead with nut? Wouldn't it be expert and then nut? That's one thing. Every time I come on the show, I have a critique, and today is no different.
You're whining and complaining.
That's not a whine and complaint.
That is a whine and a complaint.
It's a serious critique for you, and I just want you to hear it. Your lead-in music is terrible. It's not terrible. Terrible is a strong word. It's just not good. And it's unoriginal, and it's something someone can download.
It's NFL films. You have a problem with Sam Spence?
I don't have a problem with Sam Spence, except it's overplayed. Here's what you need to do. Go out in the world, and I think you know what I'm going to suggest to you. Have you ever heard of the song Ultralight Beam by Mr. Kanye West? Have you heard of him? Kanye West is a rapper. Have you heard of rap, Keon?
I have heard of rap. I don't like Kanye West anymore. Okay, I don't like him.
That's fine.
We've been trending downwards for the last 3 albums. I'm not interested.
Consider the gospel stylings of Ultralight Beam as your
for my sports show. No, I will not.
Sorry. Why would you? You have like an orchestra as your lead for your sports show. What sense does that make?
The orchestra.
How is orchestra even like any kind of orchestral?
I don't know. Ask NFL Films. That is the music of Sam Spencer. Okay. That is the music of football.
Thank you.
The only thing it's missing is John Facenda's glorious voice.
You know what? I really want 8 white dudes sitting in a room in NFL studios. I know what I really want. I want Sam Spence to make the same beat that he's made for the past 20 years.
Lies.
And send it to
you take that back.
And give him a large budget. No, just go out.
Sam Spence is a champion.
You could do the same.
So is John Facenda.
Okay, that's all I'm saying. Consider Kanye West.
You cannot do the same thing on your MacBook. It's an orchestra. What are you talking about?
It's some pre-recorded strings, and you can work it in.
Leave this earth.
I've done crazy beats on GarageBand. You're underselling this, or you're overselling your beat, and you're underselling mine, which is a travesty.
Leave this earth. You understand? Leave this earth.
I am just. Thank you, Keon, for having me on. I guess is what I should have left.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, goodness, man. Would it kill you? I'll invite you onto my show, and this is just
all right.
Bring pure anarchy.
Let's talk some Hawks basketball. Nobody else is, so we will. Let's do this.
That's what it is. We were trying. We did so much research to try and talk Hawks basketball. We tried to find everything. We were digging through.
And we came to some very disappointing conclusions.
Which is that nobody cares about the Atlanta Hawks. Like, that's really what we found out.
But we're going to talk to them anyway because they're the local basketball team. And you know what? They have a group of very lovable guys going unloved. And so we're going to show them a little love today.
Man, was it that hard? It's unbelievable. We're digging through.
I mean, I don't know. I can't find anything. It's really sad. So go ahead, Keon.
Okay. So here's the deal with the Hawks. We talked about it a little bit last week, and I'm glad we're finally getting to break this down here because the Hawks, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and because of some injuries, they didn't push the Cavs as hard as many of us would have liked. And, you know, they do lose DeMarre Carroll in free agency, but it didn't look like, okay, this team was going to regress the way that they did. And they're 31-24. They certainly regressed.
I mean, listen, they exceeded. I would argue that they exceeded last year. Like,
fair.
They had a 20-win streak. They had this whole Spurs East light thing going on, and it was really working for them. But I don't know. It's hard to maintain that. And you don't have Tim Duncan, and you don't have Manu Ginobili, you don't have Tony Parker, all three very special Hall of Fame talents. Instead, you have Al Horford and Jeff Teague and Kyle Korver, and all three of those guys are good, but they're all just above a rotation.
Yeah, they're not Hall of Famers for sure.
Like, they're good, but they're not. I mean, those are like the third or second best guy on a championship caliber team, and they just have a bunch of those kind of guys, which is a problem for a lot of teams in the current NBA, meta.
That is a huge problem. I lament about this with the Wizards constantly, but like Kyle Korver is having a really bad year, and I think
turn every basketball conversation into something with the Wizards. It's like,
no, look, I just said I lament about it, but I didn't turn the conversation into
5 games under 500. Let it go.
They're going to make the playoffs.
Oh, because the East is terrible, not because they're a good basketball team.
Whatever.
Prepare to face LeBron and get bounced in the first round. Enjoy that.
We have John Wall. Anything's possible.
Enjoy that.
So Kyle Korver's in a shooting slump, and it's for him, it's historic. He hasn't had a shooting slump this bad in 5 years.
I mean, shooting slump. He's shooting 38% from three, and every single time he shoots the ball, there's a hand in his face.
The reason why I say slump is because for the month of February, he shot above. Recently, he is not shooting as poorly as he had been.
He's still a very valuable guy, and he's arguably the most important piece of the Hawks. I don't know, man. It's really tough for the Hawks to win a championship, which is, I guess, is the goal in the NBA. That's the crazy thing is, like, you can't really. I don't see a clear path for them. Like, okay, you just trade that guy, and this guy's on the market, and then.
Well, here's the thing, like, because this is
a top 5 team, just like that.
The NBA works different. Like, every year, there's like 4 teams that have a chance, and it doesn't work that way in like every other sport. So it's weird, right, in that regard.
The NBA is such a star-driven league. Like, you don't have stars, you can't win, and it's just they don't have stars. They have low-level all-stars and rotational players, and it's just not good enough. So I guess we go down the list and we see if we can save the Hawks.
Let's see if we can save the Hawks. Let's look at their pieces that are likely to be traded or possible to be traded, the actual valuable assets that they have that they're willing to part with. And we'll see if we can somehow save the Atlanta Hawks. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. You're listening to Clutch with Keon Rose, and we're joined by my brother, Kerwin. We're talking Atlanta Hawks basketball. How do we save the Hawks right now? Because they went from Eastern Conference Finals to 31-24 by All-Star break. This is a team that won 60 games last year. They're not even going to come close.
No, and they may not win 50 games, and it's rough. It's rough to see the Hawks suffer.
It is. So let's start with the least likely piece to be moved anywhere. Paul Millsap.
They just inked into a contract. I can't even think of a team that
would touch that contract, right?
Well, no, it's not that it would touch. Listen, you kind of want those contracts. The NBA is in this weird topsy-turvy thing because the cap is going to jump this summer, and all these short 3 to 4 year contracts that are getting signed means that dudes just come up so often that security that is actually quite valuable. So expiring contracts are out, and like long-term security contracts are in. So you want guys who are already inked to deals and can't leave you at the aisle when summer comes around.
Correct. So, a la Pau Gasol. Al Horford, the reason why he's on the chopping block for the Hawks is because he's up at the end of this season.
His contract is up. Jeff Teague's up in, I think, this year or next year, something like that. And a bunch of guys' contracts are up, and it's going to be this crazy free-for-all thing. That's what everyone's projecting. And so you want that longevity. The problem is Paul Millsap's 31 in his 10th year. He's as good as he's going to get.
We've seen his peak, which actually...
We know exactly what Paul Millsap is.
It's kind of nice. Like, if you're a team...
He had the three-point shot. He's as good as he's going to get.
If you're a team looking for... if you are a team with a certain Paul Millsap-shaped gap in your...
The Los Angeles Clippers. There's a Paul Millsap-shaped gap just in the middle of
that particular team,
right?
Then
the 3 to 4 spots.
Knowing that's that guy, sure, that's as good as he gets, but that's fine because that's the thing that we need.
The problem is any good team has nothing to give up. Like all these good teams are like locked into what they have. Like you can't trade the top 2 players.
So here's the deal, because like the Clippers are like weirdly, are they good? Are they not good? Like they're not good enough to be one of the 4 teams that we're talking about that can win the title. But at the same time, you hear things about Blake Griffin. Like, is Paul Millsap for Blake Griffin in anything? Could that even feasibly work and or make sense?
The contracts aren't equal, I believe, but they're pretty close. You just maybe have to throw in, I don't know, you might have to throw in one of their bench guys or something like that, and maybe a 2nd-round pick. And the Clippers might do that. The problem is the Clippers are looking for this huge
King's ransom for
because
Griffin.
They see Blake Griffin as a top 10 player.
And he is.
They're just not necessarily better with him and Chris Paul and DeAndre Jordan.
It's just a weird fitting team.
There's no shooting. Blake Griffin can shoot 20-footers, but isn't consistent enough. And in crunch time, you can't play DeAndre Jordan. He's unplayable.
He can't shoot free throws, so you can't put him on the floor. Okay, so all right. So Millsap's out. Like we don't know what to do with Millsap.
In that his contract is really great, and the Hawks really love him, and they want to keep him, and they went out of their way. They chose him over DeMarre Carroll. He's not unmovable. Like in a season, I would say suddenly it becomes very, interesting. Okay, we're going to trade him to a contender kind of thing. Like teams to watch would be the Cavs, who are constantly sort of rejiggering things, and maybe the Knicks, but the Knicks would have to make a significant jump in ability and coaching and talent. And they have no point guard. They're awful. So
there's that. And we'll get back to the Knicks because of Teague, but we'll get back to the Knicks. So we're moving on from Millsap because like there's nothing that we can do with him at this moment with that contract and what teams are willing to give up. It's not that.
Just what's out there.
Yeah.
People are gun shy. They want to wait and see what's going to happen. Golden State's so good. Everybody's just kind of like, well, it's going to be Golden State or Cleveland. Or the Spurs is an outside shot. Outside of that, nobody has a chance. They're kind of like, we're just gonna take it easy. We're gonna wait them out. Wait 3 years. I don't know what the plan is.
I don't know. Like wait until their core breaks up and
I don't understand what they think is gonna happen.
I have no clue. Me neither, man.
On a steal of a contract, they have space to sign more players. It's ridiculous.
It makes no sense.
The team is gross, and I don't like it. Anyways,
so we're moving on. Let's move on to Kyle Korver, who's not on the trading block, but the Hawks are listening to offers for Kyle Korver. Teams that want Korver, Cleveland, because they love some wing shooting.
And Kyle Korver, average defender in a way that's just beautiful. He's not going to like be porous and let guys do the line. So instead of playing, I don't know, J.R. Smith, who is a ball hog and a knucklehead, and will just have lapses on defense that are embarrassing.
And sometimes even lapses on offense.
If you were in middle school, it's embarrassing that you're not playing defense. But
if you're on a playground
in the NBA in his like 7th year and is still having guys going backdoor on him like 2 to 3 times every single game, night in, night out, it's just terrible.
Every time I watched the Hawks and the Cavs the other day, like the Hawks got like 8 free points just going behind J.R. Smith.
Well-run teams know, okay, we're going to get 8 points from J.R. Smith. Like, no. It's
like you just plan. You build that into the game plan.
It has to starts at an 8-0 deficit when the scoreboard starts.
Right. Like there's just 8 missing points that we just have to make up for.
To make up for with threes or LeBron pick and rolls or whatever it is. I don't know. Kyle Korver is 34. He's not a young man.
But like Cleveland doesn't have anything to give us, right? Like they don't have anything to give Atlanta.
They don't have anything to give. They have assets. They have Timothy Mozgov. They're willing to move him. I don't know that Atlanta
for Korver.
I don't know that. That's the thing. Atlanta does. I don't know what Atlanta wants to do. Like there's no trade going to Cleveland for Korver that nets them a player that makes them immediately a playoff contender. So basically, you're saying if you're willing to sell on Korver and like one other guy on this list, you're breaking it down because you want to miss the playoffs. You're tanking. You're looking for a draft pick. You're looking to sort of rebuild and retool during the summer. And Korver at 34 is a top 10 shooting guard, which is kind of weird to say.
Yeah, but the league has gone so point guard heavy. Like there's not a whole lot of 2 guards at that. Like there's Redick and Korver are right up there with.
Yeah, they're really good. They patched up their sort of deficiencies on defense, and so now they're extraordinarily,
valuable.
Like the 3 ball is such a scary thing in the NBA right now, if you can shoot it, there's no reason you can't play. Like if you're on the playground right now and you're hitting threes 2 out of 3 times, maybe walk onto an NBA, D-League team and just see what happens.
Just see what happens. If you're like, listen, if you're a middle schooler, you're a high schooler, you go to Saudi Daisy High, you go to Hickson High School, work on those threes. Like, you've got a legitimate
right. We could have a Chattanooga prospect in the NBA. We don't know.
But like you've got a legitimate shot.
Anything can happen. Dreams are made of hard work and rainbows.
All right. Well, we spent probably more time on Corbin than I would have liked. But let's hustle along to Horford now, because Horford and Teague kind of go together anyway, because those are the guys that are actually on the trading block.
That have been cited in trading scenarios. Boston loves Al Horford. A lot of teams love Al Horford.
But like Danny Ainge really loves Al Horford.
And Al Horford is notably a great locker room guy. He's worked on his game. His game is going to age well. His game's going to age like Tim Duncan's game. Tim Duncan was averaging 18 and 7 last year.
Tim Duncan was also averaging 18 and 7
at the age of 39. So
he was averaging 18 and 7 5 years ago. Nothing's changed. Like, that's a really nice thing to say about yourself.
He's an ageless wonder.
It's great.
Al Horford has a very similar style of game. Can shoot. He's a better shooter than Tim Duncan. He added a 3-point game, a marginal one.
But if he's open, that's a shot that he's meant.
Which he hadn't shot over 100 threes his entire career, and to that point. So I don't know. Al Horford to me is very interesting. I just don't. They're not going to move him. Like, I don't think there's anything that they trade him and they get. Blake Griffin is the name that I would say is out there. Like, if I was moving Al Horford, I want a Blake Griffin kind of player, or I want that high draft pick, or
I think that one actually checks out.
I know,
like in terms of just
contracts match up, and I don't think that the Clippers are going to do that. Like it makes a lot of sense to us right now. Like, I'm like, just trade Blake Griffin for Al Horford.
Because here's the thing, because you get the space. Like if space is what you want and you're the Clippers, then Horford gives you that, and he gives you size.
Right.
So the unplayable DeAndre Jordan problem isn't completely fixed, but it is kind of fixed because you can still get rebounds.
Right, and in the final minutes. The problem is, and they just traded for, I think, Channing Frye, right? So
yeah, that's true.
So they actually could play, Horford at the 5 coming down the stretch.
Yeah, Frye at the 4.
Suddenly they're a very weird and kind of deadly team that can play with those small ball lineups that Golden State runs out there. I don't think Horford is like going to get dusted by Draymond Green in the pick and roll. So.
Not quite, no, because he's more fleet of foot and he's more foresized than anything.
The problem with Horford is that he has like 5 pectoral tears. Not 5.
Yeah, but that pec and shoulders, it's a rough scenario.
It's messing him up. And the last guy is Jeff Teague, and the Hawks just don't like Jeff Teague anymore. That sounds really terrible.
It's weird. But I was looking at Jeff Teague last week before the All-Star break, like the Hawks' last game before the All-Star break. He had like 27 points and 5 assists. I don't know why don't we like Jeff Teague?
I don't know. I think Jeff Teague has struggled to just be mentally checked in on defense and stuff like that. And also, I haven't really seen him do a great job of just running the offense through spaces, coming down the floor, being a floor general kind of guy. He's 27, which is the big thing. Everybody thinks Jeff Teague is like 22. He's 27. He's been in the league for 6 years, and he hasn't gotten it yet. Again, he's another guy on this list, as good as he's going to get.
Which, again, that's not a bad
really
thing.
Good, but
like if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, right, and you have Michael Carter Williams, right, who at a much younger age has gotten as far as everybody in the NBA thinks as good as he's going to get.
That's really hurtful and harsh. But also, Michael Carter Williams, why can't you hit a shot over 19 feet? Why can't you hit a shot at all? Like, I don't.
I'm sorry. He doesn't shoot well from 10 feet.
And you gamble too much on defense.
Which is weird for a guy that's his size. He's so long and huge. Like, you shouldn't gamble because you can defend anybody.
I don't know. But Jeff Teague for Michael Carter Williams and maybe one other person off the bench to make the contracts work, because I think Jeff Teague makes like $8 million a year and Carter Williams makes $2 million. So that's a bit of a jump. But there are things you can do with that, make it work. But that's only if you think that Michael Carter Williams is going to turn into something, because you already have a point guard who can't shoot in Schroeder. There's no reason to make that trade.
To make that 2 guys.
Michael Carter Williams is going to turn into something.
Which if you've got a great shooting coach.
Just off the top of my head, Phoenix probably
get some spare parts from Phoenix.
Phoenix. Markieff Morris is very much up to be got. Okay, you can get him, and he's an interesting guy coming up in the NBA. He's crazy, but he's worth at least one of these players. Kyle Korver for Markieff Morris? Who says no, Keon?
I don't necessarily say no. So we're coming up to the end of the segment here, going into break. But so here's the summary of what we do with the Atlanta Hawks. Should they blow it up or no? We think that maybe they should, but we're going to find it very, very difficult to do so. So there's that.
Information, they do nothing.
Basically, they're not going to do anything, guys. Sorry for that. Yeah, we wasted your time.
Sorry.
You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio Clutch with Keon Rose. Sam Blevins on the other side to talk some NASCAR next.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
I'm going to Carter Shooting Supply.
Carter Shooting Supply.
That's right, Carter Shooting Supply. They're having a great sale on all of their guns right now, and it's name brands like Smith & Wesson, Ruger, Springfield, their AR-15s. They've got the hottest gun in the land right now, the Sky 9mm. Man, it comes in all the cool colors. If you're an Alabama fan, they've got crimson. If you're a big orange fan, they've got an orange one. You know, all the women are loving the pink one and Tiffany blue. Plus, it has a lifetime warranty replacement. If the gun is stolen, all you need is your police report or receipt, and they'll replace it free. It has a 60-day full money-back guarantee. That's Carter Shooting Supply. They're in Harrison right there at 6210 Highway 58.
Are they online?
Yes, they are. That's cartershootingsupply.com, or give them a call, 423-344-1099. Now, this sale's not going to last too long, so you need to hurry up and get there. And they do have a great indoor shooting facility. You can get your Tennessee handgun carry permit also. That's Carter Shooting Supply, 423-344-1099. You need a place for your party or maybe a wedding reception for 100 or even more. Maybe you'd like to host a small trade show for your business, and you need a very affordable venue. Are you looking for a place for your birthday gala or services to start up a church? Look no further than the Hidden Gem in Hickson. It's an overlooked, newly appointed reception hall right here in Hickson, Tennessee. Big space, small price. That's right, big space, small price. Call Mr. Chu and ask for a tour. 316-7388. That's 423-316-7388. He'll tell you a lot more about the venue. Rent this venue today. Just call 423-316-7388 and ask for Mr. Chu.
Hello, I'm Mike Little, candidate for criminal court judge with 25 years of criminal court experience, which makes me the most qualified candidate. The experience I have gained from handling over 4,000 cases in state and federal court has equipped me with the ability to be fair, impartial, and independent. As your next criminal court judge, I will focus on keeping Hamilton County safe. I view this position as a public service and will strive to improve the daily operation of the court. I humbly ask for your trust and vote in the March 1st Republican primary.
Paid for by the committee to elect Mike Little. Barry Abbott, treasurer.
Expect decreasing clouds and cold weather through the nighttime. Frosty by morning, lows near 30. For Thursday, though, lots of sunshine will give us a beautiful day. Warmer for the afternoon, highs 58 to 60, with mostly sunny and pleasant weather Friday, highs back into the lower to middle 60s. Let Dodge City Ski Shop keep you and your family toasty warm with the largest selection of cold weather clothing, as well as all of the ski equipment you need for that big winter trip. That's Dodge City Ski Shop, East Brainerd Road, Chattanooga. And I'm 1412 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
When the weather turns bad, turn to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. On the net, hotnewstalkradio.com. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. From the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. Chattanooga, we've got you covered. When the weather turns bad, the Tennessee Valley turns to Hot News Talk Radio.
Go, 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 go. You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. The TBI is now investigating if a Gatlinburg police detective committed perjury during his testimony in a Hamilton County courtroom. According to Neil Pinkston's office, Gatlinburg Police Detective Rodney Burns' testimony on Monday differed from previous incident reports he filed during the investigation and what actually happened during the December 22nd attack of an Ooltewah High School freshman. The detective's controversial testimony was questioned even by Police Chief Fred Fletcher in Chattanooga. Chief Fletcher rebutted on Facebook. And in Ringgold, a jury will be deciding whether or not Clara Louise Edwards killed her 2-year-old foster child. The jury deliberated for 4 hours yesterday, but failed to reach a verdict before 5 p.m. This comes after the 2013 death of Sahara Weatherspoon, who died from what the foster parent described as a fall down the stairs, but investigators begged to differ. And a grand jury in Hamilton County will today hear a case against a defense attorney who's accused of leaving the scene of an accident. Bill Speak waived his right to a preliminary hearing on Wednesday in Hamilton County General Sessions Court. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
Hot News Talk 1240.
This is AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio. Clutch with Keon Rose, that's me, and we just had a great conversation about the NBA, the Atlanta Hawks. What would we do to fix them? Not much, quite frankly. There's not a whole lot that you can do. Their hands are kind of tied. So we transition in now to NASCAR. We've got the Daytona 500 coming up. It's Daytona 500 Media Week. And joining me on the phones is Sam Blevins, our NASCAR insider, here to break down the race upcoming. How you doing, Sam?
Doing just fine, Keon. How about yourself? It's been a long time. Glad to be back, you know?
Yeah, it's been a while, and we've been counting down the days.
I had a nice 2 months or 2.5 months break. I always think NASCAR gives they have the shortest turnaround times. Literally, they only get that Christmas holiday, whereas, in football, you get the whole February through August, which that is a long time to go without doing anything.
Yeah, it's painful.
But yeah, no, it's great. It's great to be back.
And it's great to have you back. So, we basically are kind of bookended. We had the shootout last week, and we've got Daytona 500 coming up. So, where do you want to start?
Well, I kind of want to start with big news. Of course, that would be, Chase Elliott winning the pole. As everyone knows, Chase Elliott's very, very first season doing Cup races. He was in the Xfinity, what used to be the Busch Series. Last year, he did very well in that. And then he raced Honda before that. But, and of course, everyone knows he's driving Jeff Gordon's car. And he won the pole. Well, the funny thing is, that very car he's driving, it won the pole last year. Gordon's car, he won the pole last year. Of course, everyone remembers that. Kind of funny to think that was a whole year ago. It doesn't feel like it's a whole year ago.
Right.
And David Jr. won it the year before that. So, everyone's saying it's big. I think that's a bunch of bloating. He has a good car. He has Gordon's old team, a good team. He has Rich Hendricks, a good car owner. And Hendricks, as we've all seen with drivers like Jimmy Johnson and Dale Jr., Hendricks knows how to build cars. So I don't think it's any shock he's on the pole driving Jeff Gordon's old car. I don't think that's any shock. And I really don't understand why people are saying, it's fixed, it's rigged. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, but we do that all the time with stuff. Like, we don't understand how it could happen. It's unlikely. Right. So, of course, the explanation that gets tossed out there is, it's fixed. Even if it doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah. I know what for Chase to do. He's starting in the first position on Sunday. I think he'll be able to carry that lead. I'd like to say he'll win the race. I'd love for him to win the race. He's my new main driver now. I grew up a Bill Elliott fan, and I remember watching Bill Elliott on race. I remember watching him win specifically. I remember him specifically winning the 2003 Brickyard, which was, I think, his last high-profile win. But I'd love for Chase to win, but part of me doesn't think it's going to happen. new drivers coming in.
Right, and I think it's a good blend right now.
Yeah.
I
think honestly, I think we're starting to move into that new next generation NASCAR. Because with retirement of Jeff Gordon, it was kind of like that was it. That was the old era of racing, just kind of going away. That was it. Okay, here's a new chapter with these new drivers. Let's make some new history. That's what I feel is happening right now.
And given that we have this this blend of drivers, what are your top contenders for this Daytona 500? Like, who do you think, like your top 3 or your top 5, like who do you think has like the best chance to win it this year?
I think, like I said, I think Chase Elliott has a good chance. I really look for Jeff Gordon to be pretty good. It's Ryan Newman to do something. Kevin Harvick, of course. Kevin Harvick's always been a good driver. Bush Brothers, but
Joey Logano, right?
But I think keep your eye on Chase Elliott. I also think because he's driving Gordon Bolton call that may give him a slight advantage. Now, I mean, if he wrecks and lasts in the next the first 30 laps, I can't prove me totally wrong and he looks like an idiot. But hey, that doesn't disqualify him for the rest of the season. I think Junior's good. I think Junior's got some confidence built in this season. I don't know why. I just kind of have that feeling he's got some kind of a confidence. He had last year, and that'll make him a better driver.
Gotcha. We are on the phones, by the way, with Sam Blevins, our NASCAR insider. The Daytona 500 is coming up. AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio is the exclusive home of NASCAR in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I had a question about the Daytona 500. They've made some changes to the track, you were telling me before. Like, what kind of changes have they made?
Well, when they say they put about, what they've done is they put about $400 million into renovations on the track. Now, they technically haven't really changed. They haven't even changed the track at all. I mean, I'm watching the spring set practice right now on Fox News 1, which is live. If you want to click over there and watch some of that Keon's show is in like the next 20 minutes. And the track, it is the exact same racetrack. Now, where you're going to find the change is in the grandstand, is in the concession area, where you walk into the track. It looks amazing. They've totally redone it. They have made it brand new. They've put steel grandstands down. They've reconstructed them. They've doubled the concessions, I read. They doubled the bathrooms, which was a big issue. If you've ever been to Daytona, you knew how much of an issue that could be, because there weren't any bathrooms. So, they really, I think, have improved the track. But in another sense, I also think, that track really, one more thing, they put a brand new, I can't believe this really they put a brand new, sparkling, massive sign at the Daytona International Speedway out front, and it looks fantastic. It is fantastic. And they put multiple big LED screens all around the track, so you can see whatever you want to see. I mean, they can put up in-car shots of the driver. They can put the session menu up on the screen. So it really, they say it's bringing the track into the 21st century. And I think that's great. I think that's awesome. And it's so much more interesting to go to a race and see that kind of stuff. But in another way, I think they've also kind of destroyed some of the originality of that track.
How so?
It was one of the original tracks. It was the first race that they ever ran. It's one of the oldest tracks there is. NASCAR built track, not fixed Indianapolis with a few more, 50 some more years on Daytona. But so they really, when they tore out the grandstands, I mean, that was the original grandstand, to my me wrong, but it was, or at least they were really, really, really old, and it was kind of great because you don't see at other tracks. It's kind of amenities you don't see at the other tracks. It was just old. It was vintage. It was something you couldn't build today in the same field. I mean, that's just progress, so they had to tear that down. But I don't know. It just kind of takes away some of the luster of the track.
Yeah, the history is kind of important. I wonder, but I guess since we are changing over to this kind of new brand, and we have all of these rookies coming in, not just Chase Elliott, but Chris Boucher and everybody. You know, you can make some more memories. I guess is where they're going with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what happened when the Braves, when they tore down Fulton County Stadium. They built Turner Field. They made they had tons of big moments in Turner Field, and now Turner Field's getting ready to go, and for some reason they're going to build a new stadium. I don't really know why, but
And that's a whole conversation unto itself.
But hey, it's going to be. They're going to get in it. They're going to make some new memories. They're going to have a great time. New players going to come in. It's going to be great. You know.
I hear you on that. So I don't know if you can remember this. Last season, during the chase for the Sprint Cup, Joey Logano and Matt Kenseth, they wrecked one another coming down the stretch there, and they said that they've ironed out their differences. They've buried the hatchet. Do you believe that? And does that come into play in Daytona 500?
Well, you know, I don't know. You know, that's a hard thing to say. It's kind of hard in NASCAR to bury the hatchet, so to speak. I mean, I think it's not going to come into play. I think that the only thing it'll do is kind of make everyone just watch them more. I think what it'll do is make everyone watch them more because they were pitching. They had problems last semester. I think what it can do is also it will. I'm looking for the words. It'll make them. It'll make them if they get into another conflict. What I'm trying to say, if they get into another conflict, it will make them less likely to go after each other because they know they're. Now, did NASCAR make them do this, or did they do this?
Gotcha. I mean, especially because like rivalries in NASCAR.
Everything else I first said, but my first question is: did NASCAR make them do this?
From the way it sounded, because that question didn't come up necessarily whether or not they were forced to, but from the way it sounded, it seemed like they got to one another and did it on their own.
Well, that's a good thing. You know, I think if they did it on their own, I think that it's over. I think they're going to be all right. They're going to have no problems. Hopefully, I can find no problem. But if NASCAR made them, I kind of think that they just did it because they didn't want to, because they had to. You know, it's kind of like, you know, like the parents say you need something, and you don't really like doing it, you do it anyway, and you're not happy about doing it. Or you may not even do it at all.
That makes sense to me. It's like, you know, you've got your siblings or you're hanging out with your family and you get into a fight with one of your brothers or something. Then your parents make you apologize. Like, it's not a real apology. It's just kind of an apology.
So yeah, that's how I'm still look for it. But personally, if they really truly did it, I think what the whole mentality is they're going off of this. Hey, we're adults. We don't need to do this. We look like children. We're making fools out of ourselves. But stop. Okay, I'm sorry. But stop.
Yeah, I mean, that's hopefully the way that it went down. That's the way I want to believe that it went down. You're listening to AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. Our NASCAR insider, Sam Blevins, is on the phone with us. earlier today, there was a crash during the second practice. Michael Waltrip ran into the back of Ryan Newman. It was kind of a big deal. There was oil on the track. What effect does this have on Sunday?
I don't think it would have any effect on Sunday. I think what it could have effect on is tomorrow in the, they used to be called the Gatorade Duel. They're not the Gatorade Duel anymore. The Can-Am Duel qualifying races. Yeah, I think it could have effect on them. I think some of that oil will still be on the track. But I think NASCAR has got such a great track cleaning crew. They got those really high-powered blow dryers and jet stream blow dryers to clean the track up. I think it'll be gone by Sunday. But tomorrow, if you can't blue racing, I think that is where you can see some issues of maybe, and I'm sure they cleaned it today. I know they've cleaned it today, but they could have left some on the track. So, I think it could have some effects tomorrow in the dual races, which is actually an odd thing, because those dual races are going to be run at 7 p.m. in the evening, Eastern Standard Time, of course. That's a weird thing, in my opinion, because I can remember in years past, a couple years ago, they were running those dual races. They were running them about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the first one, I think around 4 in no, sorry, about 1 o'clock. Yeah, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon and 4 o'clock in the afternoon for the second one. And I just think it's more normal. But I kind of see where they're coming from. I guess moving into the night schedule does give them better TV time. There's more of an audience. People actually want to come watch it. But I don't know. It's just kind of a roundabout way to say that. But I don't think it will have any effect on Sunday. I think it will have some effect on maybe tomorrow. We might see some of that.
That makes sense. And boy, it sure looks odd seeing Chase Elliott next to that number 24. But
you're watching it.
I'm not watching it. I'm watching some highlights that are up on my computer.
Oh, okay. Maybe if you had a TV in there. It's been a while since I've been in the studio. I know.
We do have a TV in there. I don't have the remote. I have no idea where that thing ran off to. So we're on Fox News. But I have the ultimate question here, like the final question here, $1 million, take it or leave it. Who do you think is going to win on Sunday? Not who's the contender, but who do you think has got the best chance to win on Sunday?
I may be totally out of my league by saying this. I'm going to say Dale Jr.
Really? Why?
I'm going to say Dale Jr. He's got the confidence. He's got a good car. He's got a good team. I think this year, we say this every year, I think this year is actually going to be his year. Now, most likely going to be freaking wrong on Sunday, because you got a ton of other talented drivers out there. But I think it'll be Dale Jr. Just watch for him. Just watch for him. All I can tell you.
You might be onto something there with it being like his year, because last year he was on fire for most of the season.
He was really good. He was really good last year. And the year before that, I think he was pretty good too. But race will get kicked off. Weekday drops at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be televised on Fox, and of course you can also listen to the radio broadcast right there on this radio station, 1240 AM, WSDT Hot News Talk Radio. It's going to be good. It's going to be a really, I'm excited. It's just really funny sitting here thinking that the Daytona 500, the 2016 Daytona 500 is, 3 days away now? Because I remember saying back in December, it's like, it's never going to get here. I don't know. It's like waiting for Christmas.
Basically.
Like waiting for Christmas to get here, and then once it happens, it's gone. You got to wait a whole nother year.
So appreciate it while it's here, folks. That is Sam Blevins, our NASCAR insider. Thanks for joining me, man.
I will catch you next week, and I'm going to try and come up to studio sometime with you. I'm going to try.
All right. I would like to have you here in studio, in the flesh.
In the flesh. We're going to try and do it.
All right.
Sometime soon.
Thanks, bud.
All right. No problem. See you later, man.
That was Sam Blevins, our NASCAR insider, and just breaking down the Daytona 500 for us. I don't know if Dale Jr. is going to win it, but I mean, he's second. That's his opening position there, and he looked great last year. Like going into the end of last season, he looked fantastic. I don't know. I know Logano won it last year, and I don't know what the precedent is for repeating Daytona 500 winners, but there's no reason why you can't. Sam was telling us that there's no significant changes to the track itself. It's going to be the same Daytona 500 track that you've known it to be, just a lot of alterations to the fan areas, basically. But I'm going to go. Okay, this is going to sound weird because I haven't watched a ton of his stuff. Like I haven't kept up necessarily with him. I'm going to go Austin Dillon. I really like him. I think that he's a good driver, and I like his car. Yeah, I really do. I don't know a ton about like his team, if he's got a good team or not, but I like his car. I'm going to go Austin Dillon. We'll see how that goes. Wild, aimless speculation of a person has no idea what he's talking about. That's what we're doing here. Kerwin's still here in studio with us. Let's toss because let's see if Kerwin's just going to pick a NASCAR name, because I know that he has no clue whatsoever.
Wait, are we serious right now?
We're serious. Name? Pick somebody, and we'll talk about it next week. And what we're going to do is we're going to try and figure out if we can have...
Jeff Gordon is definitely a retired NASCAR
Jeff
driver.
Gordon is working in the booth this year.
Okay. Well, oh, man.
How many names do you even know?
Tony Stewart's like injured, right? I feel like something happened.
His injury might be just that he's old. I don't know his...
I heard something had happened.
I have no clue about that. I don't worry too much about Tony Stewart.
Kyle Busch, is that a NASCAR driver?
That is a NASCAR driver.
Wow.
He does exist.
Was that or a golfer? I was pretty sure.
Oh boy. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do, because Kerwin doesn't know anything about NASCAR. I know a little bit. Sam knows a lot. We're gonna pick every week.
This is a very dumb idea.
This is a very dumb idea.
But if I win this, what do I win something?
You do win something. We'll figure it out. It's gonna be food of some kind probably, because I'm not rich. What are you about?
Okay, fine.
Get out of here. All right. So we're coming down to the last bit of the show. We wasted your time in trying to fix the Atlanta Hawks, but do we have any other NBA trade deadline talk? Because it's going to be past by the time this show airs tomorrow.
No idea. It's going to be a Wild West kind of thing, or nothing is going to happen at all. That's my prediction. It's not a very
but it's weird because it's like we were like half an hour from the trade deadline last year.
The Cavs are super into trading Kevin Love in some kind of blockbuster thing.
Oh goodness!
And Lance Stevenson is almost certainly out of LA. But other than that, huge big swings are going to come out of Boston or not at all.
We better find a way to
maybe Portland. I like Portland as like a dark horse to do something stupid or smart, depending on whose view you take.
That's true. We don't know yet. I like this though. This NBA NASCAR Wednesday situation. I'd like to do this again and see if like I can actually.
I feel like the show's a little heavy. No, I'm just.
It is a little loaded. In fairness, we can slide you over to Tuesday, or something like that. We'll figure it out. We'll work it out. You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio Clutch with Keon Rose. That's me. Thank you for joining me, giving me some of your time. Make sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and on the TuneIn Radio app. Thank you for joining us. Remember, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Stay clutch, and I'll see you in 24 hours.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Hi, I'm Sabrina with Sabrina Realty Associates. Now is a great